Alright, we'll start out with a couple slabs here. I've got a pith crack going down here, so we'll make some a little bit smaller than that crack. We can come over to the edge of that crack, get things adjusted out here, and we can draw our circles on there. Looks like it's getting a little bit smaller. So let's come up here. Getting a little bit smaller yet. And this, we're just making our blanks for cutting, making our platters. Alright, at the bandsaw, the first thing we're going to do is come down here and try to split these off so we've got a small, more workable piece. As you can see, we had quite a bit of bow in that. Got our first circle out. And there's our first blank. Blank number 2. Alright, the way I do things here is I use my stub center again in this end. Then I bring up my tailstock, figure out which side I want for the top and the bottom. I've got a split going through here, so let's make this the top since that split comes off of this side. I try to center it a little bit, bring the tailstock down, lock it in, bring it up, then I bring my tool rest up so that I can watch the edge here as I spin that and try to see whether I've got it centered or not. That looks pretty close. Then I check this side to see how true I'm running. And I'm not too bad there, so I can lock it in and we're ready to start. Okay, we'll bring the tool rest around, get it set up about centered, make sure we clear, get our lathe speed up to what we can do without a lot of vibration using a 1/2 inch bowl gouge. Coming in. Now some people prefer to go this way. You're actually going against the grain, but it still works. Then I'll come in and start from the center and come out. And then I need my tenon, so I'll come into that bowl gouge and I'll start building my tenon on there. And that's about all the tenon I'll need to hold this. And now I want to get the edge on the plate. start curving this around. And here I do come in from the outside normally. And then we'll come around here. And smooth that in. So we'll bring those in about like that. Then I'll use my 90 scraper to come in and finish off that tenon. Then another nice tool is just to use it's an angled scraper, and we can start that right in here and come around and get right into that corner. We can come over on this side and go right back into that corner again. And we should have the bottom pretty well done. From there, I like to go ahead and let's move the tool rest around. Go ahead and get it rounded out here on the outside. And by holding the tool against there, you can hear that it's not clicking anymore, so it must be pretty well rounded. We can take a look at that and make sure that our edge is done all the way around. Yep, so we've got that thickness, we're finished off on the bottom, and we've got a tenon. So now let's flip it around. We'll take the step center out and put our piece in, lock it down, and then I'll turn the tool rest around to this side, make sure we've got clearance, and we're ready to start again. Now here I normally start with the same 1/2 inch bowl gouge and start out here on the edge. And the first thing I try to do is establish the thickness of my wing here. And if you think you're a little, you can always roll your tool around and come and do a little fine scrape on it. But my wing thickness there seems pretty good. As you can see here, I'm pretty much lined up with the curvature here and where I've stopped out here. Okay, for the front, I use the same 1/2 inch bowl gouge. We'll use the 1/2 inch bowl gouge again. Going here, we need to kind of check our thickness off and on. I'm way too thick here, so I need to come out here. And check my thickness again. I feel fine here, but I'm way too thick right in here. So we keep coming back in, and taking a little bit more out of that depth. Now I feel like I'm okay out here, but now I'm a little thick down here in the bottom. So we just need to come back in. Take a little bit more out of the bottom. And now I feel pretty much even. Now we can go in here with the bowl gouge and do this until we get a nice smooth finish. Another way that I like to do it a lot of times is I just used a round nose scraper, and then I can come in here and usually get a pretty nice edge on that, or finish, I mean surface, with just real light passes with that bowl gouge. And so basically there we are, we've got the platter. Now we just need to do some sanding on that. So we'll get the tool rest out of the way, slow my lathe speed down, and I start out with some 100 grit here, and sand that out until I don't see any more tool marks. Catch the edge. Come in and do the back, and I mean the sanding is kind of how much time you want to spend on it is what you do on the sanding. Now we'll go to some 150, but fairly simple process of how to make these plates. And then we'll go to some 180. And that's usually about where I stop. We can check it. Looks like I got a little bit of tear out, but not bad. We could keep sanding that a little bit. Maybe take a little bit more of that out. By the way, this is some hackberry. There's a little bit of spalding to it. But we're pretty well out there now. I go out to about 180. From there, I'll blow the dust off. And then we'll use our paper towel, or, well, I use washcloth. They're disposable washcloths. And go in and get some finish put on this. And I'm just using Deft. I buy it by the gallon and then put it in my detergent bottle and give a pretty good coat and try to get all that sealed up. Then I kind of run around here and catch the rim, the edge of the rim, I guess you'd say. Kind of make sure everything's evened out. If I do get some on the lathe bed, I just put some shavings on there. Now we'll come around and do the back, and I usually try to get up here into the top half first, into my groove here, and then I'll go down and try to get clear on down to the chuck to the bottom. And as you can see, I kind of turn it by hand as I'm going, and then I try to even that finish out a little bit. Wipe the edge off here again, kind of check it for runs. I don't see anything, so we'll let it dry, and then we can turn around and take the bottom off. Okay, we're dry now. A lot of times I'll take some 600 grit and turn my lathe down and go in and just hit it real quick, and that kind of takes the little bit of dust flecks or whatever, that that little rough feel we always have when we feel the project. So that pretty well smoothed it out now. So I'll take it off, flip it around, use my neoprene pad on the back and just put it on the chuck. Bring the tailstock up, use the hole that I already had there to center it, and lock it in. Bring my tool rest around. Bring their speed up. I'm going to use just a 1/4 inch spindle gouge. And come in here and start cutting the tenon off. It works pretty easy. I get into the center there, and then I can come out here and I can start making my dish into the bottom of that. Just make sure you don't go through the bottom of your plate. Then I can bring it around sharper, and I'm trying to get this center down as small as I can. If you want to put some detail lines in, I just use a small skew going at the point of that and put in some detail lines. Bring the tool rest out of the way. We can go in with some sandpaper and we can start cleaning that up a little bit. Now if I feel that I'm still a little bit large on that stud that I left in the middle, I'll again take my small spindle or skew and I'll go in and try to cut it down a little bit more yet. But normally I can get down pretty decent. Okay, from there we go ahead and take it off the lathe. And as you can see, we still have that stub on there, and usually just with a thumb I can pop that off. And so there's my little thing. Now to get this, I just use a sander. Alright, from here I just switch over to a drill with a sanding disc on it. And I'm going to put it in there at an angle, turn the plate as I go, do a little bit from every direction. And that pretty well gets rid of that nub. Blow it off. Now I can use my finish again. Put a little dab of finish on there and work that in. Kind of turn it in the light so that I can see that I've got it all done. And now I've got some finish on there, and there is our little plate, just like there's our little plate, all finished and ready to go.